The meeting of the October 12th, 2023 TRPA hearings officer to order at 2 p.m. My name is Marcia Birch and I'll be serving as the hearings officer today. And we'll go ahead and approve the agenda. We have one item. Have there been any changes to the agenda?
No, there are not.
All right, I will approve the agenda as it was posted. Now we have an opportunity for public interest comments for no action. Any member of the public who wishes to address the hearings officer on any item that is not listed as a public hearing item on the agenda may do so at this time. Public comments on any hearing item will be taken at the time those agenda items are heard. The hearings officer is prohibited by law from taking immediate action on or discussing issues raised by the public that are not listed on the agenda. So we don't have anyone here who, unless you would like to make a public interest comment.
No.
So Jessica, if you could check to see if there are any hands raised online.
Okay, if any member of the public would like to address the hearings officer, please raise your hand now by clicking on the raised hand at the bottom of your Zoom screen or by dialing *9 if you've joined by telephone. There are no hands raised.
Okay, so I will announce appeal rights. Any decision of the hearings officer is appealable to the TRPA governing board. The notice of appeal, which can be found on TRPA's website, and associated fees must be filed within 21 days of the hearings officer's decision. All right, so we will move on to the public hearing items. We have one item today. We're going to hear item A, Cedar Flat Improvement Association Buoy Field Expansion 4370 North Lake Boulevard, Carnelian Bay, Placer County, California. Assessors parcel numbers 092-180-008, 092-190-010, TRPA file number MOOR 2021-1827. And Matt Miller will do a presentation for me.
Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Matt Miller, a senior environmental specialist at TRPA. So yeah, the project before you today is a proposal for 15 additional mooring buoys at the Cedar Flat Improvement Association buoy field. So currently the buoy field is 21 mooring buoys, and they wish to expand it up to 36. What I'm showing here, we're showing on the screen right now, is one of the strip parcels. Jessica, if you could move down. There's another strip parcel. Both of these are owned by the Cedar Flat Improvement Association, along with a parcel. If you go back up to the top. A parcel with a pier, and I'm going to point to it in the room, but yeah, just yeah. And so Cedar Flat owns three of the three parcels. Two of them are littoral, and the buoy field currently extends in front of those two parcels, and then they're going to add the additional 15 buoys in front of those parcels as well. So behind those two strip parcels, there's actually some lakefront, but not littoral parcels that are associated with Cedar Flat Improvement Association, and then also on the other side of the highway, the Improvement Association members' homes extend up in that area as well. So currently Cedar Flat, like I said, has 21 mooring buoys in their buoy field. There's also 10 boat lifts on 11 piers associated with the Homeowners Association. Kind of a unique existing condition where there's there's individual piers associated with upland single-family residences that go through the HOA strip parcel. So total, they have 31 moorings, again, 21 mooring buoys and 10 boat lifts. But the association serves 131 residential units. So they're, under all the different ordinances listed in the staff report, they are able to expand because generally the code allows one mooring per residential unit served by an HOA. And then, like we said previously, there was no public comment received. But just one issue and concern, while the association-owned parcels do have BMP certificates of completion, there is a compacted PUD, Public Utility District access pathway through the parcel that's been identified in previous permits with TRPA to remain as compacted dirt. So the draft permit does include a condition restricting vehicle access and parking to those paved surfaces, to paved surfaces.
Okay, that was actually the one item I did have a question about. Is so the restriction, is the restriction intended to prevent vehicle access on that compacted dirt path?
Yes, because that would be,
Okay.
that wouldn't comply with our BMP standards.
Right.
So anywhere you're parking, vehicle storage, that kind of thing would need to be on a paved surface. You know, the applicant did advise in their application that people are typically dropped off to the site because again, it's that back neighborhood, people can walk here, they can they'd be dropped off. I do think there is some allowed parking along the highway that is existing along the paved turnouts there. But essentially, yeah, is to prevent any on-site parking and ensure that there's not any, you know, impacts from people trying to use the buoys.
Right. Right. And so because of this, you know, essentially it's going to increase the number of buoys, increase the use, concerns about parking.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, there's definitely potential concerns there. There's not anything specific in the ordinances that we typically review for the upland. Here's beyond having a BMP certificate of completion. HOAs vary in how their common areas are used. So most HOAs don't have a parking lot on the lake for access to the buoys. You know, whether the people, the individual residences live on that common area parcel, or they live across the street. Generally, they get there one way or another to be able to access those buoys. So we want to encourage the appropriate access.
All right. Thank you for that. Yeah, that was the one item I just had. I was curious about a little more detail about. Okay. So I'm sorry, are you finished, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, that was the only question that I had. I did notice, you know, there was a significant amount of mitigation that's going to go on, but it appears that that's all been outlined and included in the conditions.
Yeah, so there's 56 square feet of fish habitat mitigation that's required in the draft permit and conditions of approval. That is for a subset of buoys. I believe it's 7 buoys that are within feeding cover habitat. And given, you know, the size of each individual buoy, which in this case was 8 square feet, they have to mitigate a total of 56 square feet fish habitat. I did forget to mention in the initial introduction, this permit is also, you know, to recognize some relocation that's happened, you know, over the years since TRPA's last approval. So it's going to recognize the field and its, you know, current condition and placement.
I noticed that too, that it was recognizing those relocated buoys. Also, the Shoreline Review Committee, there weren't any agencies that indicated there would be an issue with permitting.
No.
Okay. Okay, so if anyone is here on behalf of the applicant, we'd be happy to hear from you.
I'm Jan Briscoe, representing Cedar Flat Improvement Association, and we appreciate all of staff's time and hard work on this application. And the only thing I wanted to mention relative to the parking issue is that there is also a pump station, and we have an easement with North Tahoe PUD should there be an emergency. And they do sometimes, for equipment purposes, use that. They have gates and they do come down with a truck or whatever occasionally, but at no time is anyone parking on the property, and we're fine with that condition related to the association's use. And we have no other comments. We appreciate your consideration.
All right, thank you. So we can go ahead and take any public comments on this item. So Jessica, there's no additional folks in the room, so if you could check online, please.
Okay, if any member of the public would like to address the hearings officer on this item, please raise your hand now by clicking on the raised hand at the bottom of your screen or by dialing *9 if you've joined by telephone. There are no hands raised to comment on this item.
Well, then I will close the public hearing. And I will go ahead and take action on this item. I will approve the findings contained in the staff summary with a finding of no significant environmental effect, and approve the project based on the staff summary, the record evidence, subject to the conditions contained in the draft permit. All right, and I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone.